How you doing? This is the Fintech brief for March 23rd, 2026. My name is JP Biambi, and in artificial intelligence, as you know, OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, they dropped a plan for direct checkout right inside of the ChatGPT interface. But they're doing about face because OpenAI, they just announced that they're halting plans for that support for direct product checkout inside of the ChatGPT. And that's due to the low buying activity within the platform. So that means that nobody's using ChatGPT to do direct checkout. Basically, the internal foundings found that the users, they can often search for products, but they rarely complete the actual purchase within ChatGPT. First of all, there were technical hurdles, such as real-time product data sync, right? So they also found that fraud prevention was another complicated issue. Now, to make matters worse, the chat purchases were super difficult to scale. So for the time being, OpenAI has paused the purchases through ChatGPT. And now they're using ChatGPT, and any purchases that happen, they're routing them through a third-party connected chatbot instead, right? So something like Stripe. And so now OpenAI and Stripe, they're planning to continue the development of this agentic commerce protocol. But this is a perfect example of where, the cart before the horse, that doesn't work when you got a carriage. Anyway, next up, Visa had launched an agentic ready program to advance, AI commerce in Europe. If you haven't heard, Visa, they had announced Visa Agentic Ready. And it was basically a new program that was building on the launch of, Visa Intelligent Commerce. Now, I don't know if you know, but Visa had built that, and that was designed to support a payments ecosystem, that was in the era of agentic commerce. Now, Visa Agentic Ready, it was powered by Visa's trust layer, and it's bringing together tokens, identity risk, controls to examine how trusted agent-initiated payments can be enabled across channels and use cases. Now, the program is going to launch in Europe first, right, including the UK, and then first it's going to focus on issuer readiness, and it's going to provide issuing partners with a structured pathway to test and validate, AI-initiated transactions. But the early issuing partners that are engaging with Visa's, AI or agentic ready program, so far it's Barclays, Commerce Bank, HSBC UK, Millennium BCP, Revolut, and Banco Santander, and more. So next up, we hear that Visa is teaming up with Stripe on agent payments. So Visa is extending Stripe and Tempo's machine payments protocol to support card-based payments in a global network, and they're enabling that protocol on the Visa acceptance platform. So look out for that. Anyway, JP Morgan Payments and Meraki, they struck up an agent commerce pact. Now, basically, JP Morgan and Meraki are partnering to combine Meraki's agentic commerce solution with JP Morgan's payments infrastructure. And basically, it's going to power AI agents that are going to play a greater role in shopping and transactions. Now, Meraki is going to provide, the commerce services with AI features, and it's going to optimize product catalogs for discovery and make sure the AI agents can access accurate information through the partnership. This is just what's happening in payments and AI. Next, if you haven't heard, early warning services, they expanded their pays online checkout to Citi. Early warning services, they announced recently that, Citibank's is going to offer pays online checkout. So in the coming weeks, if you're an eligible Citi card member, you're going to be able to activate pays through Citi.com on the Citi mobile app or mywallet.pays.com. And then you're going to be able to utilize the pays button at online checkout at participating retailers, obviously. And then in the same vein, Capital One, they've launched a Capital One travel app. All right. They announced that the travel app is a part of the strategic evolution of their business travel and travel portfolio. So the new app's going to serve as like the comprehensive hub for, booking, rewards, flights, stays, cards, activities, and more. Basically, this is all going to be from, Capital One, and they want to provide a live lounge locator, personalized profiles, for like the home airports that are close to you, for your loyalty numbers. Then you can get like real-time trip intelligence and trip management. So basically they're stepping up, their efforts for, their travel app. And it's going to be on iOS and Android. So you can find it now. It's available now. Next up, American Express. Capital One's trying to compete with them, but American Express is now offering virtual cards in Concur Expense to simplify expense management. All right. They've announced the integration of virtual cards in Concur Expense, and this expands their partnership with SAP to deliver integrated spend management solutions. All right. And this is for their enterprise clients. This is where employees are able to use virtual cards for business expenses. And then the administrators, they can maintain control via like built-in spend limits. Right. So that has like security, and then they have like uniquely generated card numbers so they can track everything. And, this can all be reviewed and, reconciled, and changes can all happen in one place. Cards can be like created, managed, and directly from, the Concur Expense platform, right? This is currently available to just, certain American Express corporate and business customers. All right. It'll probably be rolling out to all, American Express customers in Q3, 2026. So if that's not enough, here's what's going on in international payments. All right. Visa, they've launched the Intelligent Authorization Service to monetize payment processing in Europe. All right. Visa, they've announced Visa Intelligent Authorization in Europe, and it enables inquirers to modernize payment processing while strengthening their operational resilience. And this is basically via a single API connection, right? So that eliminates the need for any like infrastructure, any like, design rebuilds. Basically, Visa is partnering with like initial group of acquirers to unlock the capabilities of what Co-America, Global Payments, Elavon, Fiserv, Unicare, and Worldwide all bring to the table. Pretty big deal. Anyway, Visa and Fiserv are expanding, their longstanding partnership to deliver, Visa's acceptance platform right within Fiserv's merchant acquiring base. Now, Fiserv's processing solutions across Europe will also have access to that. So this partnership combines Visa's front-end authorization capabilities with all of Fiserv's acquiring and processing stack. And that's going to deliver one cloud-based acceptance infrastructure supporting intelligent routing, enhanced data, and embedded value-added services. Huge, man. So next up, JP Morgan Payments and MasterCard have launched their virtual card partnership. All right. They've launched this new virtual card in Europe, and it supports traditional accounts, payable needs that in each of the industries, such as like insurance, healthcare, travel, commercial real estate. On top of that, JP Morgan also has plans to leverage MasterCard's B2B supplier and enablement activation services to help buyers and suppliers, across both sides benefits from the virtual card acceptance with like, what would we call it? Faster onboarding, better customer support, better fraud protection. Anyway, Next, Experian and OpenAI. They've launched UK's first credit score app right inside ChatGPT. Experian actually announced that it was UK's first ever credit score app within ChatGPT. So this new tool uses, anonymous Experian credit score data to show how like typical scores compare across, your postcode or certain areas and your age group. So now consumers can see local demographic score averages based on, maybe who's living nearby you, what your age is. You could see like, what are the other scores of people who live in your neighborhood that are the same age as you, right? Anyway, in other news, Revolut launched UK Bank, and they've been granted regulatory approval from the Prudential Regulatory Authority, the PRA, and it's to exit, the mobilization phase and launch an actual bank in the UK. Revolut Bank UK is set to roll out new banking services for like 13 million customers. And they're going to be able to start offering these accounts, as fully licensed bank accounts for both retail and business customers. Now, Revolut's going to begin gradually rolling out, current accounts to new customers in a few days. So that's going to only start out with just a small group, and it's going to expand in the coming weeks. So for existing customers, there's going to be no immediate changes, but customers are going to be notified in the coming days about, any changes in, the bank processes, and expect that, to take place over the next few months. So there's that. Hopefully that wasn't too much for you, but that has been, the Fintech debrief for, the weekend ending today, Monday, March 23rd, 2026. All right. My name is JP Biambi, and you are watching, Merchant Advisory Services YouTube channel. It's been useful for you. If you learned anything or if this is helpful, definitely subscribe, give us a like, and you can hit the bell to be notified when we go live or when we upload new clips. All right. Thanks. I'm going to see you on the next one.